Don't be the person in 2025 gifting bad whiskey. Stay tuned to Wiser Welt's 2025 whiskey gifting episode with Robert Sorthout. Welcome to a Wiser Retirement Podcast. Are you curious about what best whiskeys to be gifted in 2025? I'm here with my good friend, Robert Sorthout, to talk nothing finance today, 100% whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to hear finance stuff, go listen to last week's or next week's.
Correct. Absolutely.
Each year, this is our third time doing this. It's one of our most heavy downloaded episodes within the first 7 days.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We have like 6,000 downloads over a month or so.
Right.
But this episode always gets instant downloads right away.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe our listeners are a bunch of drunks. I don't know.
Probably not. They just have good taste.
They just have good. Yes, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
So let's kind of dive right into this. We have a little shorter list this year because we
different format.
Yeah. We did the same format twice. We thought we'd switch it up a little bit this year.
Yeah.
So what makes 2025 a great gifting year versus other years in whiskey?
Yep. Well, like we said, we've done this the previous 2 years, and, we were dealing with inflation and other reasons. But whiskey prices for the last 5 or 10 years have just been going up and up and up and up. I think the exciting news this year is prices have moderated a little bit. Prices have moderated and access is becoming a little bit easier to get some of these bottles. So that's the exciting news this year. I think, there's great things every year to choose from, but at the end of the day, having access to more things at maybe more reasonable prices or not as a nosebleed of prices is good news. So
having just coming off a college tour with my daughter through Kentucky.
Yep.
There was no bourbon drink during that visit.
It sounds like a bad visit.
It was a bad visit. Yes. I'm assuming that the tariffs don't affect anything whiskey related.
For the American whiskey, no. But what has affected the distillers in America is when they were exporting it, there has been less countries buying American product because the whole tariff spats that we've been in for 6 months at this point, right? But that is part of the decline. And just generally, I think people are pulling back into maybe they don't feel great about the economy or different things. They're buying cheaper things. So maybe they're going from a pricier bottle to a cheaper bottle, or they're going from a bottle to a beer or something like that, is my understanding of how the market has kind of shifted over the last year.
Interesting. So what are distilleries doing to combat this with their promotions? Just
promotions, not necessarily running sales, because you don't necessarily see that on liquor. No. In some states, I think that's even illegal. Right. But just generally moderating the prices and not jumping the prices up. You are seeing them also, now that they have extra stock that's not selling, they might be doing finishing in different ways you wouldn't necessarily seen before. So, like an example here in front of me is this Bardstown, where they finished it with silver oak barrels. So they're combining the wine world with a Cabernet from California with the their bourbon from Bardstown. And I'm a big silver oak guy too. That's one of my favorite wines. And when you drink this whiskey, if you sit and think about it, you can totally pull the flavor out. Like when I drink silver oak, I can taste a coconut flavor. That's what I remember from it each time. And I can definitely taste a little bit of coconut, which is very foreign for a whiskey to have.
What does that have to do with the wine?
But for whatever reason, that's what the flavor I get out of the wine. Maybe my brain is miswired.
Okay. When you're drinking, I see what you're saying now.
Yeah. So it's kind of fun to kind of see that. So they're doing different things. They've done a one also with Whistle Pig. So they kind of doing it across different distilleries, but they obviously have a lot of barrels, and their barrels are required to be new. But you can finish a bourbon or American whiskey in a barrel of whatever.
So what are some of the emerging trends that you're seeing? And then what should we be paying attention to when selecting gifts this year?
Yeah. So we kind of started already talking about it a little bit, but the different cask finishes. So you're seeing, this wine here, this Fiddler. So this is for all the Atlanta folks listening. This is ASW. So this is our hometown distillery here, or one of them. And they have done a product here where they finished this in French cognac cask. And they also have one in Madeira cask. So this bottle shop up in, I would guess Roswell or Marietta, actually Marietta, at Sprayberries. So this is a bottle pick of theirs. I've just gravitated towards more bottle picks the last couple of years. It's something different, and it's likely either you need to run, if you love something, you probably need to run back and buy it again, because it's probably not going to be there very long. Right. They might get maybe 200 bottles out of a barrel. So again, it's not going to last long, and it's typically a single barrel. So it's
which makes it better for gifting because it's a unique bottle.
It's absolutely, it gives it some personality and maybe a little bit of a talking point. So with this one, I had some cigars the other night with some friends, and this is a great one to go along with the cigars that we found. But yes, this is a single barrel. This is a barrel, in this case, 760. It was 7 years and 7 months old. It was finished in that cognac for another year. So kind of fun with a higher proof. This is 120 proof.
So what are some key attributes that you would say makes a good whiskey gift from just a solid bottle to drink? So someone might have their go-to whiskey.
Yep.
You don't want to buy them another bottle of their favorite whiskey.
It's like buying them some more socks.
Right.
Like don't need to do that.
So what how do you know how to do this when you don't maybe know the person that well?
Yeah. If you don't know them that well, I would just say it's just like, buying a store pick, I said, and then you can talk a little bit about it. You have a conversation around it, like versus just, you're not going to go buy a handle of Jack Daniels off the shelf. You could buy it any place that you go to.
Correct.
So just with any gift, give it some thought. And just you maybe want to have a conversation or be able to sit down with somebody. That I think is a great conversation starter potentially as well.
Maybe going to the bottle shop and say, do you have any unique bottles for a gift?
And
that, have a conversation with them.
You're correct.
Yeah.
And that can lead different ways. Depending on who you're talking at the counter, it could be the owner or just an employee, and they may lead totally different paths as well. But, they may try to lead you down a path where you're going to maybe spend more money than you want. So you have to pull that back a little bit.
Yeah. Or sometimes you don't get access to these bottles until you bought a minimum from them.
Correct. Absolutely. And more bottle shops are moving toward that model where it's like they keep track of it in a rewards program, and then they give it the tail end of the year, Q4 here, when a lot of whiskey is released.
Well, what happened to me last season is like, I just went and got 2 bottles of Woodford and somehow that qualified me
to be in their program,
their program. And I'm past this sheet in front of me. And it's like, you can buy Blanton's, you can buy all these different ones I couldn't find in the store. Like this bottle shop kind of stinks. I don't see anything that I even recognize
it's
from Robert's house. Cause in my head, it all goes back to Robert's house.
Fair enough.
And then all of a sudden I buy 2 bottles of Woodford and then I get, cause I figured that's a pretty good generic
absolutely.
gift. It was double baked, it was a higher end one. Right.
Yep.
And all of a sudden I get this piece of paper put in front of me. It's like, you can buy these bottles right here now. And I was like, well, that's what I really came for.
Correct.
But I had to buy the other 2 bottles to get to those bottles. That looked like a complete, like I have an alcohol problem. I'm walking out with like 10 bottles of whiskey to be gifting to everybody.
So some people may know this, but bottle shops and liquor stores in particular, to get these more allocated bottles, they have to buy other product from the distillers, whether it's the Woodford, normal Woodford, or they have to buy some random vodka that they're selling. They have to buy a lot of that other stuff to get a small amount of these allocated bottles. So that's
for what everyone's looking for.
For what everyone's looking for, right? So everyone, the bottle shop in some sense is stuck in the middle trying to peddle this other stuff that maybe no one wants to get the few bottles that everyone does want.
That's very insightful. That makes sense.
But to, I guess, jump back to your question, when I'm trying to find a gift for somebody, it's maybe the avenue of what's something I can give them. Not necessarily have to spend a lot of money, or you can, but that's something that they wouldn't buy for themselves, or they wouldn't think to get for themselves that you think that they would enjoy. So it's no different than getting a bottle of wine, I would say, but just, whiskey is my thing. So that's what I think about. So, and if I truly don't want to think about it, I just go pick my favorite whiskey, and then go buy a bottle of that and then go give it to them. So,
right.
Yep. I guess that's even less thought in some sense.
Yeah, but you're an expert at this. So I'm assuming a lot of our listeners are not.
Expert in air quotes. So.
Before we get back into the episode, have you ever wondered why annuities keep coming up as a recommended investment? While they're often pitched as a way to reduce risk and secure your future, annuities frequently benefit the salesperson more than the investor. Download our free guide, Buyer Beware, Why Do They Keep Trying to Sell You That Annuity, at wiserinvestor.com/guides. Now let's get back to the episode.
So if you're picking 3 whiskeys to gift this year, what would it be and why?
Yeah, so we're doing a different route this year. So we had done the whole price bracket thing in years past. This time, it kind of kept them roughly around the same price, but just, things that are newer to the market that may or may not be as easily available depending on where you're going. But the first one we'll talk about is Jack Daniel's, the 10-year, not normal Jack Daniel's. Everyone knows that one, has whatever feelings about it. But this Jack Daniel's 10-year product, I think MSRP is $70 to $90. There's a good chance you're going to pay a little bit more than that, just because it's likely to be in their glass case or something behind a counter. If you're to find it anywhere.
Because you said Jack Daniel's, and I went, oh, that's kind of generic. It's like, here's a Ford Escort,
right?
here's a Ford Escape
for the normal Jack Daniel's, absolutely.
Yeah.
So they're doing a 10, 12, and 13 year, I believe.
Okay.
And so it's a aging of their current thing with a slightly different mash bill.
Do they bottle it differently?
Or
they just
they age it longer. Front? Well, the normal Jack stuff is not even age stamped, so you don't know. So it's probably less than 4 years old.
Yeah.
I have had a single barrel there, so it was aged longer, but not age stamped. So you don't really know. My guess is between 6 and 8 years. It actually starts to change flavor and is actually good.
Yeah. Okay.
Not at the proofed down version, but more of a barrel proof. That's my preference.
Sure.
But yeah, the 10-year, I mean, it's a different shape bottle, so it doesn't look like the same bottle that you maybe recognize as Jack Daniel's, but it's, I think, of something, that would make people tilt their head. They're curious. So it may make them think a little bit. And, again, you can, read up on it a little bit and talk about it. So, yeah.
Okay.
The second bottle is, and I have an example of it. I don't have this year's release with me, but Old Forester's Birthday Bourbon. So again, this is MSRP $80 to $100. You're probably going to pay $150 to $200, admittedly, if you're going to go find it in the store. But it is a bottle that has a very different shape. So it's flat, for those that are listening on the podcast can't see it, it's very much a squatty flat bottle with a skinny neck on it. And it's every year's different, but it's always a great
Birthday Bourbon. What's the proof?
The proof on this one is, I want to say 105.
Woo.
So, okay. Yeah, and this one is aged, well, this release from, I think, last year, the year before, was aged 11 years. So it's going to have an age stamp on it. And, but this is an allocated bottle. So this is probably the least easiest to find on our list.
Okay.
But this is if you're giving a gift to somebody that knows bourbon and you give them this gift, they will know that you spent some effort getting it. There is no doubt. Or you just got really lucky and you can just let them know it was hard to find.
You paid a ton of money for it on the internet.
Right. And there's definitely those websites. I have a buddy that will go unnamed, but he seems to spend all of his time when he's not flying airplanes on bourbon websites. But anytime I'm curious about what a bottle's like, I'll just ask him. And like he's turning into an encyclopedia of access to bourbon. So that's that one. So our next one is the third bottle on our list is the Smoke Wagon Private Label. So Smoke Wagon is out of Las Vegas. A little bit different here. This one, again, it's being private label bourbon. It's likely to be full proof. I have a bottle shop that I will visit from time to time on the south side of Atlanta, down in Locust Grove or in Jackson. There's two different places for it. And they do a barrel pick there. These bottles are phenomenal. It's higher proof at like 126, I believe. So you can put on ice or however you like to drink your bourbon. But, it's a fun bottle. Those bottles, all the Smoke Wagon stuff has the glass that is the brown glass that has
pretty packaging.
And it's some good packaging. Yeah. So they've thought about it. And packaging is a fun thing. I mean, like, we talked about the squatty thing for the birthday bourbon, or we don't necessarily have it on our list to talk
Fiddler
about.
Looks like a wine bottle.
The Fiddler looks like a wine bottle. And the one over there closest to you, the Blue Run, has got the butterfly. We've talked about this one in years past, other versions of it.
Yep.
But just, again, it's something that is different visually, great flavor, and it's something fun to give as a gift.
So these have been higher proof ones for more the 90 easier to drink proof. Maybe people who maybe drink occasionally but don't. Yeah. What would you recommend for this year?
There's no reason why you can't buy a high proof bottle. It's like buying concentrate of anything else.
You just dilute it.
You just dilute it. That's all they're doing when they sell tea at 90 proof. They just added water to it. That is all that they've done to it.
Interesting.
They've added their special water to it.
Okay.
But it is it's like buying concentrate. And so what's interesting about it is some of these higher proof ones obviously have more ethanol. You'll definitely get that when you smell it or drink it. But you drop a little bit of water into it, and it doesn't necessarily have to like sit for very long, and like the flavor can totally change, good or bad. generally it opens it up, I think is what most people will say. So you can actually get other flavors that you couldn't have tasted with the higher ethanol content in it. Or you just, you can swirl it in the glass and let the ethanol kind of, say vaporize out a little bit and kind of get out of the way. So, but yeah. So, as we start to think about kind of where things are going in bourbon over the next 3 to 5 years, American single malts have started to pop up in more places. So single malt, more of a Scotch thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a single malt fan personally, but you're starting to see it come up in places I would have never expected. So I'm a big Whistle Pig guy. Whistle Pig has released a single malt. I'm like, okay. They have been rye and bourbon 100%, and all of a sudden they throw this single malt in. I think that maybe they're trying to appeal to the American brands are trying to appeal to that foreign drinker of a Scotch.
Yeah.
Is maybe where that's going, but I would imagine that trend continues.
Would that have anything to do with tariffs and the import of the foreign bottles, maybe, and maybe they see it as an opportunity to offer something at a cheaper price?
Potentially, but like
it had
you
to
think
be
about
way on the front of that by the time you roll something out
right
now.
I'm going to say, because tariffs are relatively a short thing. I mean, we've had them for not even 9 months, 7 months, right?
True.
I don't think
made years ago.
Right, years ago,
so it's more of a trend.
Or even if they were to like April the 1st when Trump's tariffs went crazy, like maybe they were buying barrels still. I don't think the logistics work out.
Yeah.
I think they were working on this before that. So, and just whether it worked in their favor or not, I don't know. But, and I guess the second point on kind of what's going to happen over the next 3 to 5 years is I think prices will continue to stabilize and maybe decrease in some places because they have gotten to nosebleed levels for stuff that in my opinion, does not constitute nosebleed level quality. Mm-hmm. So pre-COVID, you could go to the store and buy a really good bottle for like $50 to $80.
I remember when Weller was $25.
Right. Absolutely. And like, you get these internet groups that like, will kind of stir up a bunch of interest for something that'll happen no matter what. But like, a $50 to $80 bottle before, I mean, that's easily 80 to 120 now. Maybe more.
Yeah.
And some of these upstart distilleries that were maybe just budding ideas 5 or 6 years ago have now built a brand. And now, like I think Blue Run's a great example. I mean, like their bottles are easily over $100 now, and like even potentially over 200 in some cases. So you have to really want it to pay those prices, I think. So
is it the distillery that's getting that premium, or is it just getting marked up even more in the stores?
I think it's both.
Okay.
I think the distillers are definitely charging more. And granted, wages are up and everything that parts of running a business, but most businesses don't have costs that have been up 50% and then things tacked on top of that for the retailer. So, and I think as we continue to see the glut of the amount of bourbon on the market, there's brands all over the place. I think we'll see some contraction in the number of brands over the next 3 to 5 years, which also means that the product out there'll be a plethora of product. And I think that will help push down prices some. So, and I think the third point there in the next 3 to 5 years, just access. I mean, as there becomes a glut, there's less buyers out there. You'll potentially be able to get the allocated things a little bit easier, assuming they kind of keep releasing them, which the allocated ones are their like top of the line or their highest price point. Those will persist to be out there. It may be the middle grade version of whatever that may kind of get the squeeze or something like that. So,
okay. Well, there you have it, folks. Your top 3 gifts for 2025, whiskey gifts for 2025. Jack Daniel's 10-year, the Old Forester Birthday Bourbon 2025. You're going to have to do some Christmas hunting for that one.
Yes. And most of the listeners will be here in the Atlanta area. We have some good bottle shops. It helps that we're not an ABC state, so it helps access, but spending money at your local store definitely gets you on the radar and maybe helps that case. So.
And then the Smoke Wagon Private Barrel Bourbon, all within this $100 range that we're thinking about. So that's great. Thanks for doing this, Robert. And thanks, guys. If you have any questions, you can always comment or shoot us emails, and we'll be happy to answer them. If you get stuck or want to know if a whiskey's a good whiskey, let's give me your email, Robert. I don't know if I can help him at all.
Robert at TetonCryptoCapital.com.
Send all your whiskey questions there, and maybe Robert get a 10% commission on helping you source
there we go.
The most rare bottle ever, right?
Yeah.
All right. Have a great holiday season. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to a Wiser Retirement podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening. That way you don't miss any new episodes. We'd also appreciate if you could leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about anything that was discussed today, head to wiserinvestor.com and reach out. This podcast is strictly for informational purposes only and is not to be considered as investment advice or solicitation to buy or sell any financial products, securities, digital assets, or any other investment vehicles, or a basis to make any financial decisions. Wiser Wealth Management Incorporated is a registered investor advisor with the SEC. The host and/or guests may personally own securities, digital assets, or other investment vehicles mentioned on this podcast. Neither the host nor guests of the show are compensated for their participation, and no referral fees are paid to or received by any host or guest for clients, listeners, or similar interests. Investments involve risk, and unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, insurance professional, and/or legal professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.